This is the Lee Company Countdown to Kickoff. Brent Doherty with you. Zach Lyons filling in today for Blaine Bishop. Zach, what's up? How are you?
I'm ready. I'm ready for this game. I'm ready to be hurt again.
Be heard?
Hurt.
Hurt. Yeah, but if you go
or
into
be hurt
it,
too.
If you go into it with that expectation, are you really hurt?
I guess not.
Yeah.
I guess not. It depends on how they choose to lose today. How much it hurts.
But what if they win?
There is a path to victory for this Tennessee Titans.
Yes, we were talking about that before the show. I've got Slave's keys to victory that I pulled this week. But I want to hear yours. We've got mine. Buck Rising will join us live from Arizona in Glendale here in just a little bit. We are with you until 2 today. Titans Radio takes over at that point. Then it is the Tennessee Titans playing the Arizona Cardinals. Kickoff set for 3:05 p.m. at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. The Titans come into the game at 0-4, obviously having lost 10 in a row dating back to last year. Head coach Brian Callahan carries a 3-18 record. The Cardinals are 2-2. They're 1-1 at home. They have lost their last 2 games, however. Arizona started the season with wins over New Orleans and Carolina, followed by losses to San Francisco and Seattle. Arizona favored by 7.5 in this football game. It's bounced around, opened at 9.5, then it's been bouncing from 7.5 to 8.5 all week. Arizona was 4-1 against the AFC last season, 3-0 at home. They haven't lost to an AFC team at home since Baltimore beat them 31-24 on October 29, 2023.
Wow. I didn't know that's quite the stat.
How about that? The Titans have lost 7 straight to the NFC. Their last win versus an NFC team came on November 26, 2023 in Carolina.
So one of the streaks has to end today. Maybe, possibly.
Maybe. Arizona is dealing with something. They are dealing with something. Their top 4 rushers, their top 2 running backs are both out. And so they're going with a guy with 4 carries on the season.
That's true, but he did have, 20-something carries last year with a 9.6 or 9.4 yards per attempt, and we're talking about a Murray D. Mercado. And we've seen Michael Carter have some big games. There's no consistency there. But, yes, it is a drop down from James Conner and Trey Benson, if only the Tennessee Titans had a run defense that could take advantage of it.
Their second leading rusher on the season is actually quarterback Kyler Murray. The 4th leading rusher is wide receiver Greg Dortch, who has been injured all week. So we'll see what happens with him. I guess when do the injury report? I'm not used to doing these.
90 minutes before 3:05, so that should be
12:30.
12:30, I guess.
While Buck is on,
right? Yeah,
1:30.
1:30.
Thank you.
Yes.
12:30.
Buck is not on
Pacific time.
Yeah.
Titans trust their home stadium to Lee Company to tackle their heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electrical problems, and they can protect your home, too. Your next play, visit LeeCompany.com. Lee Company, all you need. The Titans need to make Arizona one-dimensional, can they?
Oh, I mean, Jeffrey Simmons probably could, but we got to understand that this Cardinals team, they are what the Tennessee Titans kind of want to be, in a sense of they're a super young team, but they're performing at a high level. And I know everybody's like, well, they're 2-2, right? I mean, they lost to San Francisco and the Seahawks, but only beat the Panthers and the Saints. Well, which of those 2 teams are the Titans closer to, the Panthers and the Saints or the 49ers and Seahawks?
Right, and all 4 games were one-score games.
Right, and they only lost, the last 2 games, the 49ers and Seahawks, by combined 4 points. Mm-hmm. 1 point versus the Seahawks or 49ers and 3 points versus the Seahawks. Can they make them one-dimensional? Yes. But the problem is that this team is going to run and pass out of 13 personnel and 12 personnel, which is 2 tight ends for 12 personnel and 3 tight ends for 13 personnel. And this team cannot handle essentially multiple tight ends blocking their edge rushers because their edge rushers cannot get free. Femi, since the preseason, has been getting washed out by tight ends. I remember the Buccaneers game. He got washed out by Mo Kieft or Kieft. I can't remember the first name, but he was like the 3rd string Buccaneers guy washing him out of plays, and it's been a routine thing for him. And Jihad Ward is your best edge player right now, unless you're including Jeffrey Simmons in that, but your pure edge player is Jihad Ward, and he's barely getting any snaps. I mean, they need to get him more involved because the only way to make this team one-dimensional is to completely smother the run game. They're going to run no matter what. Their run attempts are way up there in the NFL.
They want to run the football.
They want to so bad and they've been pretty good at it. They're 14th in yards per attempt, this Cardinals offense, in running the football. And they want to bleed the clock. They are fourth in the NFL for time of possession per drive. They hold the ball 3 minutes and 14 seconds on average per drive. They're ninth in plays per drive with 6.5. What that is telling you right there, they may not be scoring a lot of points and capping things off, with bunch of field goals and touchdowns and all this kind of stuff, but they are making the defense work for it. And we have seen this defense not be able to get off the field and not be able to stay off the field because of the offense.
You want to watch the show live? You can. YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, and Twitch. Babs would say Twitch, please. On YouTube, William Jones says 0-5 incoming. Doug Falling says lock in. Bustin' Diamond, tighten up. Money line time.
Maybe he means the Cardinals money
line.
Listen,
if you go Titans money line and win, you're looking at something.
Yeah. But if
Ross, you win? Money line?
No. But I support him.
I hate it that it feels like this team isn't an any given Sunday kind of team. Like that's what it feels like going into this game. I will say this. The closer I get to game days, I have no belief Monday through Friday. And really once the clock starts on Sundays during the game. But that Saturday and Sunday lead into the game, I start getting a little bit more hope because I'm believing, is this the Cam Ward game?
Yeah,
is this the Cam Ward game?
Well, quarterbacks have had success against this Arizona defense. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. On FanDuel, if you bet $25 Titans to win, you would win $87.50.
That's not bad.
Now, if you're a big spender like Slay Dog, and let's say you go 125, you're looking at $437.50.
Wow.
On the return. So there you go.
Are they still 8.5-point favorites?
7.5.
Oh, it went down since last check this morning.
Yes, Vikings with a win in London at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, 21-17. Browns rookie quarterback Dylan Gabriel, 19-33, 190 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Carson Wentz for the Vikings, 25-34, 236 through the air, 1 touchdown. A lot of that to Justin Jefferson, 7 for 123. That dude's pretty good at catching footballs and running.
Yeah, it was a pretty fun game to watch especially for a London game. Usually those are real boring games, but the way that Kevin Stefanski and Kevin O'Connell kind of like lob bombs at each other constantly throughout this game, the push and pull of the offensive defense
all over the place with the Vikings defense.
Brian Flores. It's very reminiscent of the 49ers and LA Rams coaching clinic on Thursday. It was actually a really good game. And it sure is fun to watch offensive coordinators put their quarterbacks, third round pick with Dylan Gabriel. You have Mac Jones, backup quarterback. Kevin O'Connell, backup quarterback. Then, of course, you got Matt Stafford. But they're all being put in positions to succeed constantly by their coaching staff.
Lee Company countdown to kickoff. Lee Company, all you need, visit them online at leecompany.com. Again, Buck Rising coming up momentarily. Arizona quarterback Kyler Murray. It's been okay at home this season, completing 67% of his passes for 210 yards per game, 3 touchdown passes. However, all 3 of his interceptions have come at home. He has a 30-yard carry. He has a 29-yard carry. Beyond that on the season, 10 carries for 14 yards. He does put up highlight reel plays, and he can do it at any time against any defense, but he's really inconsistent.
Yeah, I think we kind of alluded to this on Cover 2 on Friday, it seems like this team is a quarterback away from being like real believable contenders. Because really the NFL and most fans kind of look at the Cardinals and don't really know how good this roster actually is. And I think a lot of it has to do with a lot of people just don't like Kyler Murray. A lot of people don't think he's inconsistent and he's a good quarterback. And I think that once they kind of move away from Kyler Murray, because Kyler Murray does not seem to really fit what this team is moving towards and wanting to be. Like if you put Cam Ward in with the Arizona Cardinals, that is a match made in heaven from personality-wise, competitive drive-wise, and all that kind of stuff, like that kind of personality and traits. And like Kyler Murray just doesn't seem to fit the direction that the majority of this this Cardinals team is trying to go to. And a lot of that has to do with the Monty Austin Jonathan Gannon. They have they're building this culture, but they also didn't draft Kyler Murray. So he's kind of right now the odd man out. And you heard him talk about to the media about being, he's like, I hope I'm here when the new practice facility is built in a couple of years. Because I think he kind of knows it's just round peg, square hole kind of deal.
We will keep you updated on the noon games. Houston Texans with an early 7-0 lead over Baltimore. C.J. Stroud with a 5-yard touchdown pass to Hutchinson. Fairbairn with the extra point. 7-0 Texans. Of course, Lamar Jackson not playing for the Ravens.
Roquan Smith's out too. Like they have almost all their starters.
They had like 7 dudes miss practice all week. Yeah. I mean, what is the number of starters out for them? 11?
It is a high number.
It's ridiculous.
Because it was just like Kyle Hamilton and Derrick Henry and maybe some dudes on the offensive line, it felt like. They have Roquan Smith. Cheeto is out, obviously a guy that the Tennessee Titans may have needed this year on defensive back. Kyle Hamilton is out. I thought he was playing. Ronnie Stanley is out. Patrick Ricard is out. Their fullback and Marlon Humphrey is out. So all the inactives today are starters in some form or fashion. That is insane.
The Dolphins with an early lead in Carolina. I wonder how many people are watching that game. 3-0. Miami with the lead. Studio Sam says, listen, guys, Kyler Murray may be inconsistent, but we are very consistent. We consistently get it taken advantage of by inconsistent quarterbacks.
And by quarterback second run, I would say that we see, with the running back injuries that they have had, I say we see a heavy dose of quarterback-designed runs.
There are 3 0-4 teams, Titans, Jets, and Saints. The Jets are playing the Cowboys at home today. The Saints are hosting the Giants today. Kicker Joey Slye made his first 10 kicks of the season. He has missed his last 4. The Titans held kicker tryouts on Tuesday. Callahan called it a normal flow of operations. He said his confidence in Slye is still sky high.
But does it sound like the front office's confidence is sky high?
I mean, they do those Tuesday workouts every week. But when you start focusing in on kickers.
And a long snapper and a punter, like that was also very odd.
I would advise Joey Slye to not have a bad day today. Let's just put it that way. All right, when we come back, a guy that never has a bad day, Buck Rising, will join us from Glendale, Arizona. That's next. Stay tuned. This is the Lee Company Countdown to Kickoff. Lee Company, all you need. Visit them online at leecompany.com. This is the Lee Company Countdown to Kickoff. Brent Doherty with you. Zach Lyons is here, in for Blaine Bishop. Available 24/7. Put Lee Company on your team to tackle your home's heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electrical problems. Schedule online at leecompany.com. Lee Company, all you need. Let's go down to Glendale, Arizona. Buck Rising joins us live from Glendale. And I kind of joke all the time, Buck, to live life and live every day because you never know if you're going to get hit by a bus. And I hear that you almost did.
Yeah, I was taking my stroll this morning. We got an afternoon kick, so I was enjoying some breakfast, and I got a cup of coffee. I figured I'd go make the rounds at the stadium, find out where the media entrance is, and I had my AirPods in. And for those of you who have AirPods, they have a noise-canceling effect on them, and I went to turn the corner, not paying attention, and I got smoked by a bus. So we lived to fight another day. But
I don't mean to laugh.
Depending on how this afternoon goes.
Yeah, I mean, that might have been the most pleasant experience of the day. I mean, it wasn't like a THC morning margarita.
No, we took care of that in the early evening yesterday. They have this delightful app called Weed Maps, and it's like Uber Eats for all of your needs. So I self-medicated on the front end, and then was clear of mind this morning. Not so much when I had my near-death experience. Woke me up a little bit.
Was the bus so close that it messed up your hair?
No. Are you kidding me? You know how much product I have in this thing? You could take a leaf blower to me, it wouldn't move.
I mean, even if the bus would have run him over, he'd been fine.
That would have been
the hair would have made it.
That's how they would have identified the body, Buck's hair.
Yeah. All right.
Let's lower my helmet, and then try and plow through it.
Let's talk about this game, Arizona and the Tennessee Titans. Arizona favored by 7.5. I just did the math, and it was like $25, Buck, on a money line. Actually, let's go higher than that. Let's go 125 on the money line, get you $437.50.
Yes.
You in?
No. No. I'm all set on that. I am very grateful that I cannot bet on the NFL because I would think that I know something or more than I actually do and lose my ass. But this is, I have picked them to not cover the spread every week, and I have been correct. So Cardinals offense is a struggle for the last time that we saw it and on that Thursday night football game, but they can put up 20 points at will in the back half of a fourth quarter against a divisional opponent that's got one of the best defenses in football. I don't know that this team can do anything of the sort. So if you're talking about a touchdown, 6 points last week, boys, was insurmountable. So a touchdown plus is, I'll leave the betting to you on that one.
Let's start with Kyler Murray. What do the Titans need to do defensively to kind of cage that guy?
Yeah, I mean, just that. Keep him in a pocket, right? Jeff Simmons talked about that this week with us and brought up the 2021 game in which, as Jeff put it, Kyler took Jeffrey's ankles from him on a couple of different plays because he has the ability to do that. Now, that's going to be more than just the Jeffrey Simmons effort. They, again, will be without Devondre Sweat, as we know. He's on injured reserve. The edge guys are going to have to play sound and disciplined football, stay in their gaps, and not get too far upfield with their rush. It's more important, honestly, I think, to contain him than it is to sack him in this particular situation. But, the good part for the Titans is they don't get sacks very often unless it's C.J. Stroud behind the league's worst offensive line. So that shouldn't be too big of an ask at this point. And I think the term that Jeff used was keep him in the well. So if you can do that, you force Kyler to beat you from the pocket. And frankly, he doesn't have great visibility, right? He is diminutive, and I don't mean that as a shot or a slight or anything like that, but that does impact his visibility, what he's able to execute on the field. And we know that he doesn't have a deep threat right now. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a work in progress, let's say, and they're down to their third and fourth running backs as far as their rushing attack goes. If you can't put up a fight against a team like this one today, I don't know what anybody can do for you.
Buck, obviously Tyjae Spears has been activated off IR. They didn't use the full length of his 21-day practice window. I mean, how much of an impact can we really expect Tyjae Spears and Tony Pollard to have in this game against one of the league's better run defenses, especially considering that Tyjae Spears hasn't played in a game since preseason?
Yeah, it's a good question, right? And I don't know. it also comes back to the idea of deployment, right? Because you remember before Brian Callahan's first season as the head coach, and he was talking about how he viewed Pollard and Spears as a bit interchangeable. And, Tajay did miss some time last year, but not enough for them to lean on Tony as heavily as they ended up doing. Because in an extended sample size, Pollard was simply the more effective back. So I think they can say one thing, message one thing, and do another, and whether or not they'll try and make them actually interchangeable the way that they at least talked about doing in the first training camp of Brian Callahan's tenure here remains to be seen. I can't imagine. He's had plenty of time to rest and rehabilitate. And I know he's talked about the mindset that it has almost forced him to take. I think he mentioned how well him and adversity have gotten to know each other over these last couple of years because of all, concussion and ankles. And I believe hamstring issues also cost him a little bit of time in 2024. So I wish I could give you a more specific answer to that, because I don't even really think that the coaching staff would be able to give you a straight-up answer pregame before they actually get into the mix of the game itself and see how it plays out. And also, he'll play plenty if they're in as many third and longs as they've been in, because he is a more effective receiving option, though Pollard does have that in his bag.
The Tennessee Titans have been in some close games for the first half, maybe all the way through the third quarter, but a rookie quarterback's best friend is a defense and a running game. And it seems like the Tennessee Titans don't want to lean into the run game, and they don't want to help the defense by keeping them off the field a little bit longer. So and I know everybody's calling for Cam Ward to throw the ball more, but really shouldn't it maybe be leaning into the run a little bit more until Cam Ward is caught up to the speed of the game?
Yeah, and that's the thing that among a great many things that probably frustrate fans watching this team is that they don't laugh. Hearing you sadist.
Well, just say there is a lot.
Well, we laughed at you almost getting hit by a bus. So this is where you are with this group.
I know. That would have been the biggest win for Titans fans today if that bus had actually gotten me. I can't even get that win accomplished. I think that the thing that is most perplexing about the current approach for the offensive coaching staff is that they, at least when we get into these games, they don't seem to stick with whatever their plan might be. They don't seem to have a conviction of their beliefs. And all right, this is what we're going to set out to do. Here's how we're going to execute it. If it works, great. Then we were proven right. If it doesn't, fine. At least we had the courage of our conviction to go out there and execute, stick to the game plan, and trust that what we've put into place throughout the course of the week is actually going to come to fruition. And listen, it's easy to get scattered when their protection has been as poor as it is, when the penalties have been as frequent as they are, and when you're just getting put behind the chains as frequently as they have been. So I don't want to make excuses for them, but I do think that those are at least some of the explanations that you could provide as to why the hell this thing has looked as dysfunctional, or disjointed, I'll say, as disjointed as it has on that side of the ball. That's probably one of the things that is as disappointing to Titans fans as anything, is they were hoping to see an offense take a step forward without Will Levis actively nuking them on a week-by-week basis, and frankly, they just continue to nuke themselves.
Slay says Mayer, he says Yorl and Zach look like they are ready for a win. Yes, we are. We're ready for a win.
Well, I'm ready for a win.
I'm you on YouTube right now, and your eyes look both of your eyes look sunken into the back of your head. You just look tired of this.
Lee Company countdown to kickoff. Lee Company, all you need, visit them online at leecompany.com. Buck Rising joining us from Arizona. What's up with Calvin Ridley? 10 receptions, 24 targets, 141 yards, no touchdowns. What are we doing?
What are we doing? We're not catching the football. We're not executing at a high level. We seem to not have confidence, and not even seem. This is something that Tyke Tolbert brought up with us, the wide receivers coach. Not this week. We didn't speak to the position coaches, but last week he brought up that. And I mean, we joked about the horse blinder goggles. I think last week, Brent.
Yeah.
That Calvin Ridley is wearing.
Yeah.
to help him more focus on catching the ball and to kind of block out his peripheral vision. But again, is he going to wear these things in a game? I don't understand. I'm sure there is some practical application. Well, I don't know what else to do with him, Brent. Like, if he's just shook up, I'm confused, frankly, as to why. Because what happened to him between the first preseason game, and then they rested him, and Brian Callahan gave us the line about, well, we know what we have in Calvin Ridley, and that's all well and good, but we don't even know what we have in Callahan. We might know what we have in Brian Callahan, and we might know what we have in Calvin Ridley, and neither of those things are overwhelmingly exciting at this point in time. But he seems a bit broken. And then beyond that, I think people were confused as to his deployment last week in Houston, and came out after the fact, and Brian Callahan mentioned after the fact that he was dealing with both a elbow injury, and is it a knee or is it an ankle? It's a lower body injury. I can't remember exactly what, but both of those were sustained in the game to explain why his usage in Houston was so up and down. There were critical third downs in that game where they're just trying to get something going that Calvin Ridley wasn't in. We thought it might be, all right, well, they're just going to sideline Calvin Ridley a little bit, but you try not to jump to too many conclusions, and the fact that he was dealing something and continued to deal with it throughout the course of the week is a problem. To go today, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But if not Bryce Oliver, they have called up James Prochet from the practice squad to kind of hedge their bets a little bit. I know a good deal of Titans fans are just dying to see Xavier Restrepo, because why the hell not at this point? But Prochet has at least played in NFL games. He has experience, and he does have more special teams value. So there are reasons why that makes more sense, at least for the immediate.
In Cam's head, is Alec Eilman wide receiver one now?
Yes. Yeah, he has not talked about that publicly, and I'm sure if you asked him, he would continue to express a belief in the group as a whole. But there's no question that he's forcing things to Alec, right? He's just trying to get something, and there's no. I mean, we understand why, right? Alec is the only one who's been reliably catching the ball. Cosell also brought this up with me on the podcast this week, Brent. I didn't catch your 3HL segment this Thursday. But the idea that Cosell looks at their offense, and he expressed this concern last year too, but that the offense does not, in and of itself, like within the structure of the scheme, does not present Cam Ward very many clean looks or reads, which is not something that you or I or the untrained eye would be able to diagnose. But if people like Cosell are pointing that out on a regular basis, it's compounding those issues. You have to help these players win. We're looking for Brian Callahan and the offensive coaching staff to be a plus from the sidelines. So far, one could argue that they've been an active detriment.
When you're looking at James Prochet's call-up, I know you alluded to the fact that possibly, maybe that's insurance for Calvin Ridley, but Marcus Harris has been a gunner, and now with Jarvis Brownlee Jr. gone, maybe they're bringing up James Prochet to be the other gunner, and Marcus Harris is going to get more run at corner maybe this time?
I don't know that they wouldn't try that, Zach, and I wouldn't shoot down the possibility of it, but I do think that they like what they have in Jalen Armour Davis, who played I think every defensive snap, if not almost every defensive snap last week in Houston. They didn't have the penalty issues, and I'm not going to change my position on thinking that the Brownlee trade was dumb just for the sake of doing it, because again, I would like if even if you don't want to play him as a starter, then keep him on your bench as depth at that point in time. But I think that they're not above trying anything, so I wouldn't rule it out. I wouldn't say it's just for the sake of getting Marcus Harris more run on the field.
Obviously, we were talking about it before you got on air, but they brought in 4 kickers on tryouts on Tuesday. And Joey Sly is, after starting out 10 for 10, is now 0 for 4 over the last 2 games. Is this kind of a do or die moment for Joey Sly in the sense of, hey, the front office is already kind of eyeing your replacements in free agency?
Yeah, and I mean, it's, you could look at it from both sides of the coin, right? It's garbage that they expected him to go out there and try and do something from distance against the Colts the way that they did, and it continues to put Joey Sly in a bad spot. Because he's had the ability to do that doesn't mean that they should use him as a crutch that way, and obviously they've fallen short on that. I think the thing that concerns you most is last week was indoors, right? Last week was inside. Brett Kern made jokes about knowing what side of NRG Stadium in Houston that the air conditioning units are blowing the hardest, because it can slightly affect ball flight, which is, of course, a sociopathic thing to know. But Brett Kern used to chart weather for a living
yes,
as a punter. So this is not beyond the stretch of the imagination. Again, we are inside today at Arizona. The roof is closed, and there would be no reason for Joey Sly within a reasonable distance, right? Those were chip shot field goals that he should have been able to make today. If they are in a similar position, he needs to be able to do the same. And he talked about it as like a golfer may have a slight curve to their swing off the tee that you have to account for. Joey Sly's both, if I'm not mistaken, went wide right last week, so that's something that he has taken into account. And yeah, I mean that's the nature of the National Football League. We understand this. If you are called upon to do your job and you aren't able to perform, it doesn't matter what you've done in the previous weeks. Your most recent sample size is the body of work by which you will be judged. And unfortunately for Titans fans, that coaching staff is not held to the same standard, but for the kicker, that is certainly going to be the case.
By the way, 7 of the 12 teams currently playing have kicked field goals today and made them. There are a whole lot of threes on the board right now, as a matter of fact.
I also saw Jackson Dart and Dylan Gabriel throwing a couple of touchdown passes.
Jackson Dart, 5 for 5 for 44 yards and a touchdown on drive number 1 in New Orleans. Maybe the only other team that's as bad as this one?
No, because they have a pass rush. So I would favor the Giants in that particular situation. They have at least looked like they want to put up a fight through 4 weeks of football, now 5. We will see if this team has any fight to them.
Oh, I was talking about New Orleans, but yeah.
I almost said a bad word. New Orleans is New Orleans has looked friskier too. Hell, they gave the Bills almost half a game last week.
This is how
and they're doing it with Spencer Rattler, who has only thrown 1 interception, mind you.
Yeah,
5th-round pick, Spencer Rattler. 3rd-round pick, Dylan Gabriel. And, of course, later in the 1st-round pick of this last year's draft, Jackson Dart, are all being put in positions to succeed by their coaching staff, whereas maybe the Tennessee Titans are not doing that with Cam Ward. It is the only path to win this game that it feels like to me is their secondary is banged up. Will Johnson's battling through a groin injury. Max Melton has a hamstring issue, and I just blanked on the third cornerback that they have that's also injured, but none of them have been ruled out yet. But it seems like to me this is time for the Calvin Ridley get-right game, but the Cam Ward to look like the number 1 overall pick kind of game for them to win. Do you agree that it's going to have to be through the air to maybe take advantage of this weekend secondary for the Tennessee Titans to pull off the victory?
Yeah, which does not inspire confidence given how that has gone.
Yeah, right.
But the thing that makes that run defense for Arizona so deadly is the deployment of Budda Baker and how they line him up all over the place. It's a very unique defense that Jonathan Gannon deploys, and it will give them problems up front. It's also incumbent upon Cam to be able to identify the different looks, right? This is going to be unique to anything that he's seen so far. And that's, there's reason to believe that would almost be a weekly experience for a rookie quarterback. But the Arizona Cardinals defense is the definition of multiple that way. So I think in theory, yes, you are correct, but that does not exactly align with the strengths of this particular football team.
Buck Rising with us from Arizona. Titans and Cardinals coming up at 3:05. You can catch all the action right here with Titans Radio on 104.5 The Zone. Opposing quarterbacks are completing 64% of their passes for 267 yards per game against the Cardinals. 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, to your point, Zach. Arizona has 8 sacks in 4 games. Can the Titans protect Cam Ward? He's been sacked 17 times, but season low 2 last week. Headed in the right direction.
Hey, baby steps. How about that? They missed J.C. Latham terribly. I don't know what that's going to look like when J.C. gets back, but there's no question that right side is. I mean, how many teams could stand to have a starting offensive lineman with a top 7 draft pedigree go down and survive it successfully? That's I'm not saying again not to let the Titans off the hook there, but it is a frustration, I'm sure, for them as a coaching staff, for them as a roster, and for fans alike to have seen the level of investment in the offensive line and for that not to come to fruition through the first 5 weeks of the season. J.C. Latham ruled out again, of course, as we well know, dealing with that hip strain. They felt a bit more optimistic this week. We'll see if doesn't continue to be the case ahead of next week at Las Vegas. Dan Moore, to his credit, playing through illness last week, I thought he held his own. It's not an easy rush to face, and they weren't perfect by any stretch of the imagination. Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. are going to do that to a lot of players. I think having Zeitler back in the lineup was helpful, certainly. But this is also, Zach, I'm sure you could speak to this as well. this is also incumbent upon Cam Ward to just rip it if he if he is in the pocket or if he sees his first read, just rip it or throw it away. Like the time to throw, I think he's prior to today's games, prior to Thursday Night Football kicking off, he had the seventh slowest time to throw among qualified quarterbacks according to Next Gen Stats. That's just not. It can't compound things, right? And he's been accountable. God bless him. About all of this with, half of the sacks are on me, half of the sacks are on the offensive line. We're trying to work through this thing together, and he understands that he's got to be better in that department too. And last week we just saw him pressing, trying to extend plays, make plays where there were no plays to be made. So the protection is equally on the quarterback to protect himself by getting rid of the football in a timely fashion beyond just what the offensive line will allow him to do.
I mean, throw it away too, right? Because at a certain point, Greg Cosell, what he said was that they're not providing him a lot of easy, clean reads. They're not providing him a lot of outlets too. So sometimes he has to hold the ball longer to get any kind of clean read. But other times, you just got to you've seen the best of Cam Ward when he just takes the snap, plants his foot, throws. And if you can get that going early in the game, then you need to get him into a rhythm. But they've had a real hard time not only getting him into a rhythm, but Calvin Ridley. But Cam Ward does have to show some of that footwork or lower body matching what the eyes see kind of movement this week for sure against the Cardinals.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. And, again, he understands the importance, the urgency of that. I'm just waiting for his teammates to get the message. And can't send a message by saying, hey, we asked. Let's get it going here, boys. I don't know what else you can do to get through to these guys.
Yep.
You mentioned Budda Baker still doing his thing, averaging 7 tackles per game. They will do some odd things with their secondary that you will see during the game today. Arizona has defensive end Calais Campbell still. He's 39 years old in season number 18. Bucky has 3 sacks, 3 of the 8 sacks for the Arizona Cardinals. And then speaking of disruptive, linebacker Josh Sweat, also 3 sacks, very good at getting up the field and into the offensive backfield. Those are the kind of guys, their guys on each level right there.
Yeah, well done by Titans legend Monty Ossenfort for putting together a competent front throughout the course of the last couple of years since he's been doing the job here as the general manager after formerly being the one of the assistant GMs in Tennessee. He has found a couple of pieces and parts. Obviously, they paid Sweat this offseason, and Campbell getting to come back to Arizona has been, I wouldn't call it quite a revelation, but he's certainly been a helpful piece. Again, the longevity of him playing that specific position is insane. That is something that these guys are going to be prepared for. But if you had to face Calais Campbell, the best way to prepare for that is seeing Jeffrey Simmons on a week in, week out basis playing the kind of football that he is. And to Jeff's credit, because we haven't talked about him yet today, and I feel almost required. I'm not, obviously, but I do feel it important to mention just how excellent Jeffrey Simmons has been
so good.
through the start of the season. I know fans don't care if you get shut out how good the interior defensive lineman is playing, but I mean, my God, has he been just an unholy monster out there?
All right, so Zach offered his path to victory. What's yours?
Yeah, I mean, you have to turn the ball over. You'd have to turn the Cardinals over at a significant rate. It's going to be a situation where Kyler's going to make plays. McBride, the tight end, is going to make plays. You got to find ways to disrupt that passing game, get them out of rhythm, get them put yourself in short distances or good field position with turnovers. Turning the ball over hasn't been a problem for this defense, but they haven't done it quite at the rate that they were doing in Denver in week 1. It's really as simple as that.
There he is. He's Buck Rising. All right. Stay safe, bro.
Well, I'm not Mark Safe from bad football, but I'm Mark Safe from everything else. See you, boys.
See you, Buck.
All right, see ya.
There he goes, Buck Rising. I mean, there's his path. Turn him over a lot.
Yeah. I mean, and the Titans have been able to kind of be a ball, hawking kind of team right now.
There you go. If you want in, we would love to hear from you, your thoughts on today's game. Titans at Cardinals. Cardinals favored by 7.5. Kickoff at 3:05 p.m. in Arizona Central Time. You can catch all of it right here on 104.5 The Zone. Lee Company, countdown to kickoff. Lee Company, all you need. Visit them online at leecompany.com. Lee Company countdown to kickoff. Brent Doherty, Zach Lyons with you until 2 o'clock today. Titans Radio will take over at that point. Taylor Zarzour, Coach Mack, Will Bowling, Rhett Bryan, Zeph Dog will be with you there. Around the league right now, the Indianapolis Colts have taken a 7-3 lead over the Raiders.
13-3, as you just said they scored a touchdown.
Okay, there you go. Daniel Jones, 9 of 12, 96 yards, a touchdown. The Giants lead the Saints 14-3 now. Jackson Dart, rookie quarterback, 8 of 9, 83 yards and 2 touchdowns so far today.
Man, that must be nice.
Saints trying to go 0-5. Cowboys just took a lead over the New York Jets on the road 10-3. Dak Prescott, 7 of 11, 106 yards and a touchdown. Broncos and Eagles, a lot of people paying attention to this one in the betting community. Broncos and Eagles tied at 3 in the second quarter. Dolphins annihilating the Panthers 16-0, pending the extra point.
Was Tyreek Hill additions by subtraction by accident?
Man, that looked rough, that one.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah, that one was bad. But Tua looks to be sometimes when you take away a guy that you feel like you have to force feed, the offense starts to look a little bit better. But granted, this is against the Panthers, who may have either the same awful defense the Titans have or just slightly worse.
17-0. Tua at 16 of 20, 147, 2 touchdowns. Texans lead the Ravens 10-3 in Baltimore. C.J. Stroud 7 of 9, 76 yards, a touchdown. Games coming up, obviously, Titans at Cardinals at 3:05. Buccaneers at Seahawks. Lions at Bengals. Commanders at Chargers. The Sunday night game coming up tonight. Patriots at Bills. And the Monday nighter, Kansas City at Jacksonville. So, if you want in, 615-737-1045. JJ in Nashville. JJ, what's up?
Guys, as a University of Miami alum, I just have to alert you to something that you may have overlooked. I heard Buck kind of marginalizing Restrepo in his comments earlier, and I got to tell you, how does a guy with sub-first-round draft pick speed and size get to where he is today? He plays with heart. He is not having the concept of being outmanned, okay? Put that guy in there and see if he doesn't light a fire under a few Titans behind.
I thought this might be the week that they might elevate him, but they went Prochet instead. What do you think about it? Thank you, JJ. Appreciate it. Hey, congrats on that win last night. Miami might have the best team in the country.
Oh, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
Great game, JJ.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
What do you think? What do you think about Restrepo?
It can't be any worse. I mean, I know that sounds like we're marginalizing Restrepo, but at this point, we know he is right. JJ nailed it on the head. He doesn't look at his 4.8 speed or his size or anything as a weakness. When he's on the field, he's got the dog in him, right? Cam Ward has the dog in him. They tried to kind of neuter that dog a little bit this week, but I don't think it's really going to affect Cam Ward at all. They need more Cam Wards and more Xavier Restrepos on the field. And listen, I don't know if Xavier Restrepo has the talent, but we at least know he has the hands, right? Like, he knows where he's going to be.
He's a dog, and he's a winner, dog, right? And like, all of those things.
Screw it. I mean, what do you have to lose if you're the Tennessee Titans?
The reason why I said this week was because it looks like Bryce Oliver's coming back next week.
Right.
So where are we on J.C. Latham and Bryce Oliver next week? What are you hearing?
I mean, I see and hear a lot of people be very, positive thinking about J.C. Latham's availability next week. I'm just so confused on who to trust when it comes to injuries in this regime. Remember last year, it took a month and 9 days for L'Jarius Sneed to finally go on IR. I don't think that's going to come to this conclusion with J.C. Latham, but I have a hard time trying to figure out, are they rushing guys? Are they playing it too safe? Are they not sure on timelines? J.C. Latham, obviously, when he made the announcement himself that he was going to be out that game, remember, in the locker room, visibly, audibly, you could tell he wasn't just missing a week. He was going to be missing 4 weeks. Like, I bet money on it. Well, like, if I could bet money on it.
Okay, so you're going 4 weeks. I didn't know.
He's already, it just felt that way.
Yeah, we're there now, but I just think that's a weird injury.
Yeah,
a hip.
it is, and that's why.
And
but
he
you could
thought
tell
he could go
Yeah.
and then couldn't. And
Yeah.
so I don't know. Maybe they're being.
I'm hoping
overly
he is
cautious.
back next week, right? You at least want him back for the Patriots game. You really need him to maybe have a game in before the Patriots game, because the Patriots game is obviously a big one. Of course, if you're not going to fire someone after getting blanked in Houston with that history between this ownership and that, I don't know if there's anything that will do it. But to me is you need him for that game in particular.
I don't know how you benefit by firing Callahan now. You
just hope that it doesn't get to a Brandon Staley situation. Now, not to say that we have any inkling that it could come, but we really had no inkling that the Brandon Staley situation was really going to happen that way publicly against the Raiders on Thursday night either. We had no warning for that either. You just never know when that kind of stuff happens. I would hope that nobody on this team would do that regardless of how the season is playing out, but you just never know, right? So that's just where it is for me, is that. But when you're talking about Bryce Oliver, obviously, I don't know anything about his injury. I mean, as far as what was really going on with the severity of it,
we just know it's a knee.
Yeah. So I'm hoping J.C. Latham's back next week. I don't think they're really missing Bryce Oliver right now. But at the end of the day, they told us the messaging all offseason, Brent, was that they were going to lean into these young players. Well, you got a young player right now that is reliable, that's just waiting there. You're not really getting Gunnar Helm involved. Chimere Dike only ran 7 routes last week. It's time to just lean into the young players at this point, because you can't rely on the other guys right now.
Definitely that. 615-737-1045 if you want to watch the show live, YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, and Twitch. Stokely says, if the Titans have a soul, they will win this one for Stoney.
There you go. Stoney, who's in the podcast studio right now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, his wife, because he can't drive, so his wife had to drop him off early because she had at a convention today. So there you go.
Need to go see him. Slay's keys to victory. Number 1, 5 penalties or less.
I like it.
Okay. Number 2, 0 turnovers.
Yes, most definitely.
Number 3, create turnovers.
I like it.
Number 4, score off turnovers.
Yes.
And number 5, got to be able to run the ball.
You have to,
So,
but they don't want to, but you have to.
Well, I'm trying to figure out what Tyjae Spears and his availability, how available is he? How many reps does he get? What does this look like? Because if he's back full go, the offense could look dramatically different with those two guys. Pollard's running hard, man.
Yeah, I mean, he's the best. I think to be honest, I think besides Jeffrey Simmons, he's been the best player on this team on a per-snap basis. And Skoronski's played really well, too, not to diminish what he's done. But Tony Pollard, even when he's not getting the ball, he's making someone feel his presence on that defense.
615-737-1045, Lee Company Countdown to Kickoff. Richard next up. Richard, what's up?
The keys to the game for the Tennessee Titans against the Arizona Cardinals is to be able to throw some balls. I mean, Zach Cameron has to throw to Calvin Ridley at the right timing. And then the second key to the game is going to be let the Titans defense get a better thing to do. And then the third key to the game, do the right formation in a right formation on the line of scrimmage. And then the injury report is that Tony Pollard will be out of the game. Tyjae Spears will take over. And there's also a huge one of the differences. J.C. Latham will be the starting lead rusher again, and J.C. Latham will return to the roster of the Tennessee Titans to be able to protect the quarterback. And Ken Ward will be starting in quarterback, and I think Ken Ward will be the starting quarterback for today. And the
rest of the
wide receiver changes is that we have huge news that there was some wide receiver changes today, that wide receiver number 2 will be the first wide receiver, and it looks like to me that we need catches for Calvin Ridley, and we need some catches for another wide receiver, and then we need some catches from Tyjae Spears the running back.
I agree with you, Richard, on the Tyjae Spears, and that's kind of where I was going. By the way, Tony Pollard is available today, and we'll start at running back. That's kind of where I was going with Tyjae Spears. Is his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield gives them a different element and helps Cam Ward.
Yeah, it's really weird that they don't use Tony Pollard more that way either, because that was his bread and butter at Memphis, but also his bread and butter at Dallas was his all-purpose yards, right? He can catch, he could block, he could do it all. And Tyjae Spears can do all those things as well. I just wonder, are we really going to see a true 50-50 split? They said that last year, like Buck said. They never did it. And they don't even seem like they really have interest in really leaning into the run, even though they tell us every week that is one of the keys that they need to do to not lose a game is to lean into the run, but they never seem like they want to.
Richard said they need to throw to Ridley.
I would agree, and we got some target numbers I'd like to read when we come back.
Let's do it. Lee Company Countdown to Kickoff. Lee Company, all you need. Visit them online at leecompany.com. Lee Company Countdown to Kickoff. Brent Doherty with you. Zach Lyons here filling in for Blaine Bishop. We've got more. Another hour coming up. If you want in, 615-737-1045. Some of that is true. This is the League Company Countdown to Kickoff. Brent Doherty with you. Zach Lyons filling in today for Blaine Bishop. We already visited with Buck Rising. For road games, we visit with him at the 20 segment of the first hour. So we're good with you moving forward to 2 o'clock. That's when Titans Radio takes over. Taylor Zarzour, Coach Mack, Will Bowling, Rhett Bryan, Zeph Dog, all of the crew there. If you want in, 615-737-1045. Titans at Arizona Cardinals today. Kickoff set for 3:05 p.m. at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. Again, Titans obviously are 0-4, Arizona 2-2. All 4 of Arizona games have been one-score games. Titans have been in it in the second half most of the way, I guess, in all 4 games, actually.
And you would have to think if the Panthers and the Saints can be in these games, surely you can make it a one-score game.
I would think so. Arizona, again, last season, 3-0 against the AFC at home. They have not lost to an AFC team at home since Baltimore beat them 31-24 on October 29, 2023. Talking through a lot of what we may see today. You wanted to hit on something specific numerically, and we're talking about wide receiver number 2 for the Tennessee Titans, Calvin Ridley.
Well, Richard was basically trying to do our job for us on that last call. I mean, he was hitting all the points that we wanted to make, and he was on a roll. And one of the things he said was, we need to throw the ball to Calvin Ridley. And I know that seems like a very statement to say. Of course you want to throw the ball to your wide receiver 1. Well, the Tennessee Titans have a real hard time finding ways to get the ball, at least even in the direction of Calvin Ridley. The first quarter of all 4 games so far, he has seen 4 total targets in the first quarter. He has seen 1 total target in the third quarter. So the opening 2 halves, he is getting 5 targets total, not per game, total.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, and I know you've got more information, but like if it's me, I'm trying to force feed that guy, get him going early. It's almost like a great scorer on an NBA team.
Right.
Get him the ball early, let him get in a rhythm.
Well, they went into that last year, right? Remember how we were all saying that Calvin Ridley even said something in the locker room like, you got to give me the ball earlier, give me the ball. And they knew last year that, okay, well, we got to start getting him involved early. And when they did, he was getting points. He was getting yards. He ended up going over 1,000 yards, mainly because they got him involved early and often and got teams to maybe pay a little bit extra, attention to him. Because he's not a guy that really commands double teams or bracketed coverage right now. And you have to find ways to give him the ball. And we're not talking screens and end arounds and jet sweeps. Do what Greg Cosell has said that this offense has struggled to do. Create some space. And that also goes to the fact that when they're trailing and they only have 2 minutes to go, they've only given him 1 target. When they're trailing and they have 4 minutes to go, 1 target. And that's the same target, by the way, if you guys can't do math. That's the same target. So 1 target when you're trailing with 4 minutes or less to go. In all 4 games, again, not average, total, they're completely ignoring their number 1 $92 million receiver, and it is mind-boggling to me that they cannot find ways to get this corrected.
Calvin Ridley, 10 receptions on 24 targets, 141 yards, no touchdowns. Alec Iomanner, 12 receptions on 25 targets, 151 in terms of receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. What's interesting when you look at this, in terms of the passing offense, so 22 balls have been caught by Iomanner and Ridley. 20 balls have been caught by Chig and Gunnar Helm. Do you think we see, with Bo Hardegree, a little more of a formative change as opposed to one data point from last week? Do you think that he changes it up a little bit and is kind of trying to feel it out himself still?
I think you could probably chalk a little bit of, trying to fill everything out, last week. But at the same time, the philosophy didn't seem to change. And what I mean by that, this is a team that continues to play not to lose, not a team that plays with nothing to lose. They would rather go for field goals than touchdowns. They would rather run on 3rd and 12 to set up on the right hash mark instead of trying to go and maybe get a pass interference call or get a longer completion. Or maybe even get a short completion in the middle of the field. They struggle with being aggressive. And this team has to be aggressive. And what's interesting to me is that I think there is the conflict between, I don't know this for sure, but let's just connect the dots here real quick. If you're the staff,
You're using logic?
I'm using logic.
Okay.
So
All right.
let's just
Or
say,
attempting to
I think
use
we
logic.
all can at least agree that Brian Callahan did not give play calling up willingly.
Of course not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can all agree that if he's not giving that up willingly, or if you're the front office, are you letting him pick the play caller? I would say not, because you already
I think
don't
that's
trust
fair.
him.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not reporting any of them. I'm just saying you already don't trust him.
You're doing geometry, basically.
Right.
Like we're going through a proof.
Right.
And like, if this is true, then this may be true. And if that's true, then this may be
Right.
true. So, okay.
Okay.
No, I think that's a fair guess.
And so, like, maybe that was the conflict we saw last week, is that Bo Hardegree is trying to figure out who he is within Brian Callahan's wants and desires and game plans and all that kind of stuff. And that's hard to do, right? There's a level of authenticity that is required when you're calling plays. And if you don't have that level of authenticity, maybe there's a little struggle there, right? So, because they didn't use a lot of motion, and we know through 9 games on pass plays, we know through 9 games as the Raiders offensive coordinator, he used motion through the roof. It was an insane amount. They didn't lean on the run. We know that through 9 games over at the Raiders, they want to lean on the run.
He had 6 100-yard rushers.
Right. And he had 8, they only had 18 carries, which was about 9 less than what he averaged over with the Raiders. They didn't use a lot of play action. So when I start looking at the stuff that we have for a 9-game sample size at the Raiders, what we have for a 1-game sample size could be just a bad day at the office. And maybe things will change and look a little bit more like a Bo Hardegree offense. But to be honest, when Bo Hardegree got play calling duties at that interim piece, the head coach was fired, and the head coach was also the play caller in Josh McDaniel. The difference is that head coach who got the play calling duty is still here. He's still doing the game planning. He's still doing everything that needs to be done as far as his hands everywhere. So his fingerprints are everywhere. So it's hard for me to say. I know everybody last week wants to jump on Bo Hardegree. And listen, he took a lot of the blame. I shouldn't have called a 3rd and 12 run. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. I've seen Brian Callahan do the same thing. And I've seen him play for the field goal for the last 3 weeks before that one. So what is what? You know, that's what this whole team has been for like 2 years.
I think one big problem, and we talked about it last year, was the inability to get into any kind of rhythm as a play caller. So the Titans had 2 drives longer than 17 yards last week. Two. So
they only had 2 drives over 3 minutes.
Right. So it's very difficult. I mean, all these excuses and reasons and all these things aside, like big picture wise, it is difficult to get into any kind of rhythm as a play caller. That's why I kind of want to see if they can put together a drive. They need to stay in front of the sticks. Like the penalties were much better last week.
Right.
That wasn't a reason.
Can't use penalties. You can't use sacks.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, I mean,
4 penalties, 2 sacks.
And it still looked the same, if not worse, which is crazy to me. The run game was working. Like, that was the other thing. The run game was working.
Let me see, like a 3rd and 2 or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. And you know what's funny is that, Bo Hardegree was the 3rd down. He's in charge of the 3rd down offense.
Game planning. Yeah.
And game planning. And he's probably had the most tough. He's had the toughest job already, because they constantly put his 3rd down game planning behind the sticks. Like, it's just, to me, it goes back to the RPO question that was asked to Brian Callahan earlier this week.
For those that don't know, can you revisit?
Okay, so he essentially was asked, why aren't you using more RPOs? It worked for...
Run pass option.
Yeah, run pass option. It worked for Cam Ward in Miami. Teron Davenport was the one asking this question, because they even said over the summer they're going to incorporate a lot of what Miami did into this playbook. Doesn't look like they have. But they asked about RPOs, and his answer was like, well, defenses really can defend against RPOs and blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking RPOs are used pretty heavily around the league.
Another weird part of that answer was he said we might look at it.
Yeah.
I'm like,
why haven't you already looked at it?
Yeah.
Like, because it's something that you know, and because after he was asked that, Cam Ward was asked, and Cam Ward said it allows him to see space and leverage so much better when he gets to be able to do RPO. So there is something that your quarterback just vocalized, and you said that you listen to your quarterback when coming up with these game plans. It makes me feel like because RPOs are not a staple of his offense that Brian Callahan has envisioned he wants his offense to look like.
And that's fine. Then say that.
Fine. But that's also to a detriment of your quarterback.
This is his answer to that question from Tehran earlier this week.
Yeah, we've dabbled in it. There's some things. The RPO game is can be hit or miss at this level. There's some really good looks at it occasionally, and then there's some not great looks at it. Defenses have gotten pretty good at finding ways to make it challenging. So yeah, there are things that we just keep probing and we keep working on, and we keep finding where they might fit for us. Like I said, we've done some. We've done some run option things, not necessarily RPOs. Kind of two different. Pre-snap alerts versus actually like reading defenders. We've done a little bit of it, and we keep growing with it. We have plenty of it in the arsenal. We've worked at a bunch in training camp. Just depends on who you're playing and what kind of style and structure you face.
Has he lobbied to you at all to increase that?
Not anything out of the normal flow of conversation. Nothing out of the ordinary. No.
Look, we saw it with Cliff Kingsbury last year. He used RPOs like crazy at the beginning of Jaden Daniels' tenure as quarterback last year as a rookie. He eventually weaned him off of it as the season progressed, right? He wanted to make things easier on his rookie quarterback to start out, and then they'll add stuff, take some stuff away as the season progresses. The Tennessee Titans don't seem to want to do that. And then you go and look at a team like the Eagles, right? The Eagles are just pretty much all RPOs all the time. And it works against all kinds of defenses.
Jalen Hurts is so good at that.
So, it's hard for me to buy this reasoning that he has given out to all of us to say, well, defenses, it depends on the defense and it depends on this. We've dabbled. We've done a few. Yeah, you've done 11. I mean, let's bump it up just a little bit and put those in your opening script, right? Make sure that Calvin Ridley's getting stuff. Use these tools to get your quarterback into rhythm, because they just haven't. Their way has shown us over now 21 games has not worked. Let's try something new.
615-737-1045. Lee Company countdown to kickoff. If you want in, 615-737-1045. The Titans trust their home stadium to Lee Company to tackle their heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electrical problems, and they can protect your home too. Your next play, visit LeeCompany.com. Lee Company, all you need. Again, 615-737-1045. Got to get something going offensively. First shutout for the Texans came last week against the Titans in 15 years. First time the Titans have been shut out since 2019. I did not venture into looking at the last time the Titans were shut out 2 weeks in a row. But maybe we can take a little look at that. There's Lucas Panzik. How about that?
There you go.
People commenting on the fact that the Titans do give up a second down and 33. That did happen last week.
That did.
How about that? We haven't mentioned that, but L'Jarius Sneed talking during the week, and then I want to get your take on this. I thought it was phenomenal that Denard Wilson came out and just laid out exactly what happened.
Yeah.
He was in press coverage. I don't know why. He should have been outside leverage regardless of what he's doing. I don't know why he wasn't. We should have had a safety, quarters coverage, wasn't there. It was an easy pitch and catch, given all those things. So, Denard spoke about calling defense in terms of his players being situationally aware. And he said, maybe I'll have to just call everything.
Yeah, I think that is what it's kind of come to for this. And listen, I applaud Denard Wilson for being pretty straightforward with his answer. I applaud Denard Wilson for taking some accountability in that situation, saying, hey, maybe I needed to put the kid gloves on, right? I need to hold some hands around here. The issue I have right now is that we have seen miscommunication issues arise between the safeties and your cornerbacks for at a lot higher rate this year than we ever saw last year. And again, that goes back to coaching, preparation, communication. Maybe stuff is not happening in practice at the rate we need to, right? L'Jarius Sneed has been out all offseason. Well, he's here working with Amani Hooker, and maybe they have not worked on the plays and gotten the reps in to kind of innately know who has what and who's doing what on any given play. There is some of that element to it, right? Because Blaine Bishop, he talks about it all the time, and he talked about that same exact thing this week. But he also has talked about, even if we're running a play, even if I know that guy's not going to get a play, I at least know what I am supposed to do, and I'm going to do it. And I'm going to be able to know that that guy may be out of position, right? Or that guy's not going to make the right decision. I'm going to know that. It does not seem like Amani Hooker, Quandre Diggs, or Xavier Woods really has that innate feeling with it. Like it doesn't seem like they all know that, okay, Snead's probably going to be physical. That's his game, right? He's not really that, a zone kind of guy. So I got to be on my P's and Q's on the back end. I can't afford a miscommunication on my end on top of maybe his mistake. But they compound mistakes in that safety cornerback tandem, and it's just been real hard for that Tennessee Titans team to get stops. Literally, when they got backed up to that yardage in that situation, I looked at both Jackson and Stoney while we're watching this game in our studio. I said, well, they're going to convert on this. This is even before the defense took the field. On that particular play, I just knew they were going to convert because that's where this team has me right now. I knew they were going to throw a pick six when they asked for the ball when they won the coin toss, just a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I just get that feeling.
That one's difficult to explain. I mean, it's one thing if they had trips to the left. So it's one thing if no one was open over there, and then he just flippantly, college guy, throws it to the running back who he misreads the coverage thinking no one is out there. Well, that cover three, there is a guy responsible for the flag.
Right.
He should have known that pre-snap. But the other part of that is Alec Eilmaner was wide open.
Right.
And you're looking at all three of those routes, and he didn't see that. So there are rookie elements to his game. There's no doubt about that. By the way, the Saints have pulled within one of the New York Giants. It's 14-13 now. Spencer Rattler with an 87-yard touchdown pass.
I tried to tell people Spencer Rattler was going to be pretty good, and I thought he was better than Tyler Shuck. And people thought I was crazy, but listen, they're not a great team, but he's keeping them competitive. He only has one interception on the year heading into this game. 5 touchdowns, I believe, heading into this game, if I'm not mistaken.
10 of 15, 154 through the year, 1 touchdown. I said that about Jackson Dart pre-draft, and everybody ripped me about that one. But he's 9 of 13, 87 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions.
He has a little bit over half the RPO plays from one game that Cam Ward has had all season.
How about that? 615-737-1045. Ed is in Arkansas. Ed, what's up, man?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good, thanks.
I just wanted to ask you guys, get an opinion about the clear talking point leading up into the Texans game was which team was more desperate for a win. The word desperation being used by multiple members of the team as they're talking to the media. We have a rookie quarterback. He's trying to learn how to play his position. The way to be successful is to have steady play, is to not be desperate, not be reckless, not try to play hero ball. And when you use the word desperation in week 4 of a rookie quarterback, what kind of message are we sending to him about how we want him to play the game and what we're expecting to get from him in a game?
Yeah, that word was interesting, let's say. I know Blaine Bishop didn't like to use that word. I know Ron Slay, who played professionally basketball, he didn't like to use that word. That was a tough one.
It was
and
just
they were getting it from the top because multiple players said it.
Yeah, multiple players said it, and then also Brian Callahan said it at some point. But Chig said it first, and then I was like, and that's when that kind of got on my radar too. Chig said it first heading into that game last week, and I was like, Blaine, do you like a player using the word desperate? And I played the clip, and he says, well, he's kind of using the context of hungry. Then you heard another player say it. Then you heard the coach say it. And I'm just like, oh, this ain't good. And someone called in last week, and my notes are over there in my backpack, but someone called in last week and said they're desperate not to lose, not desperate to win. And I thought that's kind of the messaging you came out of away from that team was like, this team is just trying to do everything not to lose.
When you watch them, do you get that feeling? Because I sure do.
It's just a. I don't know what word I could use to describe their approach on offense. It feels like, because I don't feel that way about the defense. And let's be honest, we're talking coordinators, right? And I think the reason the special teams look so good is because, hey, Bones Fossil. Mm-hmm. The reason that defense looks pretty good sometimes and sometimes it doesn't is because Denard Wilson sometimes is a great defensive coordinator, sometimes he wasn't. It's how it goes sometimes in the NFL. And I think the reason why this offense looks as bad is because of the people coordinating it right now, which seems to be about 15 people at any given moment. But to me, I look at it and I go, this offensive approach, there's no creativity, there's no spark, there's no rhythm, there's no rhyme or reason. There's nothing about this offense that tells me it's a modern offense other than, hey, we're in shotgun and 11 personnel, 3 wide receiver sets 80% of the time. We're in shotgun 80% of the time. That's it. It's window dressing for a modern offense.
615-737-1045, the Elite Company countdown to kickoff. Kyler Murray's weapons in the pass game are, it all begins with Pro Bowl tight end Trey McBride. We'll talk about him when we come back, and we would love to take your phone calls, your thoughts on what might happen today in Arizona. Titans and Cardinals coming up, 3:05 kick. Titans radio coverage begins at 2 o'clock. Elite Company, all you need. Visit them online at leecompany.com. It is the Lee Company Countdown to Kickoff. Brent Doherty with you. Zach Lyons filling in today for Blaine Bishop.
I'm not used to Ross turning on these microphones. He never does that for our show.
I still turn mine on.
I do it for Blaine.
Oh. Well, I always turn mine on. I go over here and it's already on.
Are you doing the postgame show today?
Doing the postgame show.
Look
Me and
at
Stoney.
you.
We're gonna just go into draft talk tonight since Kevin Dyson's not here. So we're just gonna talk Stoney's top 15 draft prospects.
Can I put a vote in for Bane from from the Hurricanes, the edge rusher?
That dude's unstoppable.
I mean, he's got the motorcycle bend thing around the edge, but now he's like Cosell was talking about it. He's like, I haven't watched him this year. Which I can't wait for him to evaluate his tape. He said he was going to watch last night's game, but he said based on last year, his evaluation during the summer, he said great speed to power guy. Yeah. But now he's added this motorcycle bend thing coming around the edge, and man, he had two of those back to back against Florida in the game against the Gators.
Yeah.
Where he was just all over Lagway that night.
They're having to game plan for him almost every game now. Like, he's that guy that kind of necessitates the double teams and everything. Last year he had 5.5 tackles for loss and 3.5 sacks, and he's already at 3.5 TFLs and 2 sacks already. So, I mean, and an interception. So, ridiculous specimen. He's awesome.
And his name is Bane.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, if they ended up with that dude and he turned out to be like the Freak or something?
Yeah. Oh,
how many fun marketing things you could do with that dude?
I mean, he hits all the check marks, right? He's a good run defender. He's a good pass. I mean, everything that this team needs, he needs.
Kyler Murray's weapons in the pass game are, well, it all begins with Pro Bowl tight end Trey McBride, 6'4", 246, very athletic, 2022 second-round pick out of Colorado State, is in his 4th season in the NFL. McBride caught 111 passes last season for 1,146 yards and 2 touchdowns. He is a problem. So far this year, Zach, 24 receptions, 234 in passing yardage, in receptions, receiving yardage, and a touchdown. He has caught no fewer than 5 passes in each and every game.
Yeah, you hope Kevin Winston, maybe this is the game that he can play. We haven't got the actives or inactives yet. They should be coming in within the next 10 minutes at some point. Obviously, Tajay, who is it? Tom Pelissero?
Tom Pelissero, yes.
Said Tajay Spears and Calvin Ridley are both expected to play. But if Kevin Winston plays, maybe he's the guy that can cover Trey McBride. Because right now, and again, it's all about how they deploy their personnel to get Trey McBride open and get him opportunities, and they line him up everywhere. He's kind of like Tyler Warren.
Yeah.
They
dictate matchup with him.
I don't know if Cody Barton can do that, and I don't know if Cedric Gray, who's obviously been a great run defender and had 17 tackles last week, but he has struggles in coverage. I don't know who on this team can actually cover and stop Trey McBride. And then with Kyler Murray being able to run around and scramble, I don't know. This it's really hard for me logically. Like, heart says Calvin Ridley, Cam Ward go off today. Their Titans are going to win. But the logic says, yeah, it's going to be Arizona all day long.
You're making me really investigate moneyline, Zach.
I know.
So how do you defend him? Draymond Jones, linebacker, the inside guys. Amani Hooker, Xavier Woods, Quandre Diggs, Kevin Winston.
You hope it's Kevin Winston. I don't know. I guess Amani Hooker's your best real option that we know for sure is playing. But again, you want him to play that deep ball kind of safety. So do you really want him in the box? At this point, you're going to have to almost bracket a tight end, I guess you could say, but play really tight zone and make Kyler Murray either, throw it an interception. You just have to take him away. That's the guy you got to focus on. You got to hope that A, L'Jarius Sneed, or B, whoever is playing the cornerback too, maybe Jalen Armour-Davis, can at least make life difficult for Marvin Harrison Jr. And you got to hope that Greg Dortch doesn't torch you, because he is a guy that can go deep. So
torch.
Yeah, it's tough. It's just really tough when you have these creative personnel packages they deploy out there.
They will run the ball with Dortch too. Wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr., you mentioned in his 2nd season. He He was the number 4 overall pick out of Ohio State. He caught 6 balls for 66 yards and a touchdown on a season-high 10 targets last week in the loss to Seattle.
And that all came like in the second half, too.
Yes. Ross, I believe, has the inactives and actives.
All right.
Yes, Titans PR and Titans just posted 4 offensive linemen are out. J.C. Latham, John Ojukwu, Blake Hance, and Brant Banks. Corner Samuel Womack III is out. And 2 receivers, Bryce Oliver and James Prochet, are out. But Kevin Winston Jr. is playing.
Wait a minute, James Prochet is out?
Inactive.
So he's inactive. So I guess they just decided they didn't need him heading into this game. That's odd. But Blake Hance is a peculiar one to see inactive, because I guess that means Corey Levin. So I don't know. That's kind of wild, because he's kind of a guy that could play all over, and they really high on Blake Hance. So I'm very interested to see why that is. I guess that means Oli Udoh, Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon, right?
Yeah, those will be the 2 guys at right tackle, I guess. They do like to interchange people at right tackle.
Yeah, do we have the Cardinals inactives yet? Have
not seen those. Have you, Ross?
I have not. I will take a gander.
What about Kevin Winston Jr.? That's a guy that I know a lot of people were anxious to see play. I keep going back to Nick Saban during the draft said, had he not torn his ACL, that's a first-round guy.
Yes.
First-round talent, first-round ability.
His film was
You
awesome.
dive into the NFL draft stuff every offseason. What do you think about Kevin Winston?
I love the long-term prospects of Kevin Winston. I was really happy that they were able to walk away with him in the 3rd round. Obviously, injury concern played a big part into him dropping. It was not the talent on the field. It was not the film. The issue is this Tennessee Titans team, it's not a Brian Callahan thing. It's been a 20-year thing, it feels like. If you are drafted coming off an injury, you're likely going to stay injured throughout your entire career. It's just very rare that the other thing happens. And so I'm hoping that Kevin Winston can make an impact today. I would not bet for it to happen, not because of his talent, but it's because it's his first game, his first regular season live action full speed game against talented NFL players that he hasn't seen yet.
And you've got Hooker, Woods, Diggs.
Right. I mean, they don't really have to throw him out there except for in certain packages. But over time, what you want to see him get is get his sea legs underneath him, right? Get these reps in, get into game shape, get into, NFL shape. And then eventually, maybe he is a guy by the end of the year that is playing on a per-game basis 70% of your defensive snaps and staying healthy. If he can stay healthy the rest of the way this year, that says a lot about his health prospects going forward, because it's his first year, and how you win this first year is going to say a lot about what Kevin Winston can be counted on to be as the seasons go.
Ross, do you have Arizona now?
Yes, the Cardinals also have 7 guys out. Receiver Xavier Weaver, offensive lineman Josh Fryer, offensive lineman DeAndre Jacobs, offensive lineman Evan Brown, and then on defense, defensive lineman Darius Robinson, linebacker Xavier Thomas, and corner Max Melton. It looks like Will Johnson will play. He was questionable coming in.
So they are only
out.
But. Yeah, Melton was actually really a nice grab for them, but that loss won't be too big for them to overcome. They have Will Johnson. They have Catrell Clark as well. Denzel Burke also. So that won't be a huge downside for them. But it is a starter that's not playing for this Arizona Cardinals team, and Tennessee Titans need everything they can get.
615-737-1045 if you want in. 615-737-1045. Again, Arizona missing 2 running backs, James Conner, who has been out, and now Trey Benson put on IR. So they're going to go with Amari DeMercado. 4 carries for 8 yards this season, 2 receptions, 13 yards, and a touchdown. He is in year 3, undrafted out of TCU in 2023. Titans need to try to make Arizona a one-dimensional team. You pointed out that he did have success last year, and his yards per carry last year and the year before are actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Just not a lot of opportunities.
Right. He only started 2 games that year, or last year that I was referencing. It was like 16 carries, 73 yards, and a touchdown, 15 carries, 53 yards, and a touchdown, something like that. So, I mean, they were very modest games, but it's all they want to run down the clock. So if any kind of run that they have, they're probably going to let the play clock go for a long time because they want to keep the opposing defenses out on the field as long as possible. It will be real interesting to see how this run game, if this run game is stopped. If the Tennessee Titans cannot stop this particular run game down to their third and fourth string running back, they have run defense issues. And guess what? They told us the whole point of this offseason was we are going to stop the run and we are going to create obvious pass rushing situations that are advantageous for our team, meaning third and longs. They have not done that. They are the fifth worst defense in terms of forcing a 3-and-out in the NFL. And this offense for the Tennessee Titans is the third worst offense in overcoming 3-and-outs. So it is a recipe for disaster. And at this point, this Tennessee Titans defense has to stop the run.
They have to stop the run, and they've got to contain Kyler Murray. And he comes up with video game plays all the time. But he's a really inconsistent thrower of the football. So you don't want him outside the pocket. You got to cage rush him, keep him in the pocket, and hopefully he will throw you balls. All three of his interceptions have come at home. So maybe you can force him into something bad.
And he's not much of a deep ball thrower throughout his career. I mean, his yards per attempt are not outstanding numbers for what you would have thought coming out of that Oklahoma offense. He's not a big guy that tests the big plays and all that kind of stuff frequently. He does it, but he just doesn't do it frequently. They play very much a better like Mike Vrabel would love this offense that they do because it's a ball control offense, all about efficiency. It's all about getting the tight ends involved in multiple different ways. But they do it so creatively that it's a modern offense because right now, 12 and 13 personnel, though being under center, all those things, those are your paths to victory and your paths to win in the NFL today for an offense. And they do it really, really well. So, yeah, I look at it right now. Like even the Panthers right now are starting to come back against Miami. And now Miami's not a great team either.
It was 17-0. It's 17-10 now.
Right. Like, where is that comeback for this Tennessee Titans team? We haven't seen one. They start off with a bunch of field goals, and it gives you the illusion that it's a close game. But you just know eventually the opposing team is going to pull away.
I think it's an interesting point. I think the defense is under so much stress to be perfect, right? Like, they're getting no help from the offense at all. So, you're in a 6-3 game where you should have the lead at Denver at halftime, right? And then, things go squirrely. Against the Rams, am I missing game 2?
No, that's right.
They're all.
It goes Rams, Colts, and Texans.
Yes, you try to forget them. But the Rams game in the second half, they're in that game. Yeah. And then they're not. And, I mean, you can say that about every week. And even last week, it's 6-0 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Until it's not.
Right.
And so I think the defense is under so much pressure to be good at all times. And there's no room for error.
No room. And the Texans just scored again.
The offense has to, they're benefiting mightily. That the Ravens are not playing their team.
Yeah, pretty much.
But they've got to figure out a way to score a touchdown early, assert tempo and all of those things.
You need a first quarter touchdown so bad. You need an opening drive that ends in points because those are your scripted plays. Though that should be the best your offense really looks in a game because you've practiced these plays. These are the scripted plays you handpicked to take advantage of a defense that you've studied to see what is working, what's not working, what looks they're showing you. You need that to be a really long drive and end in points. Even if it's a field goal, I'll take it. But if you come out and you go 3-and-out on your opening drive, your scripted plays, I just will lose all faith. Like it's the margin for belief in this team is pretty much gone at this point.
615-737-1045. Let's take a look at some of the scores around the noon games. The Colts are up on the Raiders 20-0, 13:40 to go third quarter. Daniel Jones 16-24, 142 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. The Saints have taken a halftime lead over the New York Giants 16-14. Saints trying to go 0-5, trying to go 1-4. It looks like.
Yeah.
One of 3 0-4 teams. They do have the lead over the Giants by 2. Spencer Rattler, 16 of 24, 187 yards and a touchdown. He does have an 87-yard touchdown pass. Cowboys fell behind 3-0 to the New York Jets. They have scored 23 consecutive points. 23-3 at the half. Dak Prescott, 12 of 18, 164 through the air, 2 touchdowns. Broncos and Eagles. Eagles 10-3. This one probably going down to the wire. We'll see. Eagles at 4-0, trying to get to 5-0. 10-3 the score. Jalen Hurts, 13 of 19, 138 yards and a touchdown. You mentioned the Panthers are within 4 in the third quarter against the Dolphins. Dolphins lead 17-13, 12-15 to go third quarter. Tua with 2 touchdown passes. Texans all over the Ravens in the third quarter, 31-3. C.J. Stroud, 16 of 19, 148 yards and 3 touchdowns. Those are the noon games. Coming up in the 3 o'clock time slot, obviously Titans at Cardinals. Cardinals favored by 7.5. Buccaneers at Seahawks. Seattle by 3.5. Lions at Bengals. Detroit a 9.5-point favorite in Cincinnati. The Bengals are bad. Commanders and Chargers. Chargers favored by 2.5 at home. The Sunday night game, Patriots at Bills. Bills favored by 7.5. And the Monday nighter is Kansas City at Jacksonville. Kansas City, a 3.5-point favorite there. Are you believing in the demise of the Kansas City Chiefs?
Never. People do this every year, and I'm never going to buy in. I have to listen. I know everybody wants to call their shot and everything.
everybody wants to get ahead of it.
Yeah, everybody wants to get ahead of it, but I just can't be that guy because eventually they'll get Rashee Rice back, right? Eventually everything will start clicking. They were able to get a win last week, so I don't know. Everybody every year is always like, man, this Kansas City team. I will say this. As much as I wasn't going to believe in this Jacksonville Jaguars team, and they've had their own myriad of issues as well, I just look at it and I go, is Jacksonville the best team in the AFC South sneakily? They're 3-1. I know the Colts are there, and the Colts look really good, but I don't know. Jacksonville may have a chance to really stake their claim as the best team in the AFC South right now, and that would be sickening for me.
615-737-1045. Yeah, in terms of today's game against the Arizona Cardinals, Titans need a lot of good things to happen. Again, it comes back to what we were talking about, the turnover battle.
Yep.
It goes beyond that. You can't turn it over, right? You cannot give possession on a short side of the field or whatever. Penalties. You need another good day.
Both teams are top 10 in penalties, by the way.
Yeah, so those are 2 big things. And then, dictate tempo. Get into some sort of rhythm, calling plays. Give us, like we said earlier, get a 3rd and 2 going. Yeah. You know what I mean? 3rd and short.
I feel so bad for Coach Mack because every week it's like, you got to stay ahead of the sticks. You can't get behind the chains. And I'm like, oh, man. That's every week, and I feel so bad for him.
We literally say the same thing.
It really is.
Because I think, this is all about the Titans and not really about the opponent.
Right. Because in the vacuum, you can look at this Tennessee Titans team and say, man, if just the offense would get their act together, they would at least be competitive. Would it change the outcome of a game? I don't know. But we all thought this was going to be a pretty bad team. What'd you have? Probably 5 or 6 wins?
Vegas had them at 5.5.
Yeah. That's I had them about 5 or 6 wins.
Somewhere in there.
But now I'm like, I don't know where the win comes from because they've shown me that these first 4 weeks, they may not have the offense to do it. They may not have the coaching to do it. And until that changes, until you start imposing your will on the opposite team, on your opponents, you don't have a chance to win in the NFL. And they have shown they have been able to do that.
To get to 6 wins, they've got to go 6-7.
Yeah.
Off of what we've seen. And it's not just the 0-4. It's how they are 0-4.
And how they're 0-4.
And yes, they've been in games, but they completely fall apart. And there are a lot of reasons for that. I think depth is a huge thing.
Yeah.
But the offense just not being able to get into a rhythm creates so many problems.
I think not being able to take advantage of being in the close games really matters. But also now this back half of the schedule, was supposed to be pretty easy, right? The beginning front was the tough part. But if you look at this Titans schedule at the end, I mean, the Colts look better. You saw what the Texans did. The Jaguars look better than what we all thought, right? There's
at least right now.
Yeah, there's at least 4 games. The Patriots are playing really well.
I'm still not a Trevor Lawrence guy.
Yeah, I'm not either. But
okay.
I mean, yeah, you don't have to worry about that for me.
Okay.
I haven't ever been a Trevor Lawrence guy.
Me neither.
But the Chargers are a pretty good team, right? And then the Seahawks look really good. The Browns look pretty good.
I think the Chargers have a chance.
Yeah.
With Herbert now at quarterback and at second year under Harbaugh.
49ers and Chiefs.
Good.
49ers look way better than what everybody thought they were going to be. Saints?
No.
I mean, Saints is like the only one where you're kind of like, okay, maybe they have a chance to win this one. And now they have the opportunity to change our mind, right?
That's the only game that they might have a chance to be favored in at this point with all things being equal right now.
Right.
The Saints game.
And listen, they have a chance to change all of our minds, or at least open ourselves up to the idea that, okay, maybe they could beat the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they could beat the Raiders next week. Because right now, I would say I am like 10% chance they could win either of those games. I don't think the Raiders look very good either. But again, you're the Tennessee Titans. You're right now the worst team in the NFL.
So limit the penalties, no turnovers.
Get Calvin Ridley involved early enough.
Calvin Ridley involved early.
Lean into the run game.
Hopefully they'll be able to use Tajay Spears and be kind of multiple with what he brings you and get Tony Pollard going in the run game, like you said.
If we see a totally different offense, like with Tony Pollard involved, where they are using 2 running backs at the backfield at the same time or splitting one running back in the backfield, other one out wide, that says a lot about their belief in Julius Chestnut as well, because I know Tajay Spears is obviously better than Julius Chestnut, but the idea of using these formations just because one guy's available, you got to keep other defenses guessing. So you got to open your playbook up to a little bit more possibility.
And you know, I mean, I know a lot of people have given up hope. I know a lot of people do have hope. But J.C. Latham not being there is a huge thing. So I'm anxious to see if he does come back next week against the Raiders, what does that look like? How does that change things for the Titans?
Maybe it puts more pressure on Dan Moore because everybody's attacking our right side right now. You know what I'm saying?
Valid point. Titans radio coverage of Titans and Cardinals coming up. Taylor Zarzer, Coach Mack, Will Bowling, Red Bryan, and Joseph Bonanno will help you out with that. And then you.
Yeah, Titans Talk Back. I'm back.
Titans Talk Back.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? How are you going to consume the game? You guys going to stay here?
We usually stay here because of his injury. We'll definitely stay here. He's still questionable. Yeah. But you know, because he could barely move from couch to the both couches that are in there. So I don't think we're moving anywhere right now. So we'll probably order some food or something at some point and just watch the game in the podcast studio.
Nice. Maybe I'll hang out with y'all.
Yeah, there you go.
Lee Company. Titans trust their home stadium to Lee Company to tackle their heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electrical problems. They can protect your home, too. Your next play, visit LeeCompany.com. Lee Company, all you need. The Lee Company Countdown to Kickoff will air next Sunday from 12 until 2 again, as there will be another 3:05 kick. And again, Titans Talk Back coming up following the game. So if you want to celebrate a big win, you can do it with Zach and Stoney. Or if you want to get on the couch and just vent, you can do it with Zach and Stoney.
There you go.
Appreciate you guys listening. Appreciate you hanging out with us. As always, Ross, great job producing the show. Titans radio coverage of Cardinals and Titans coming up next. Stay tuned. Have a great rest of the day.